The 10x Rule. Now today I'm going to talk about one of my favorite book which is The 10x Rule. दोस्तों ये एक ऐसी किताब है जिसने पूरी दुनिया में धूम मचाई है. It's an international best-selling book and the subtitle of the book is The Only Difference Between Success and Failure. Grant Cardone इस किताब से और ज्यादा फेमस हुए, लाखों लोगों की जिंदगी तब्दील हुई, बिजनेसेस ट्रांसफॉर्म हुए और आज इस वीडियो में मैं आपके साथ शेयर करूंगा वो की इनसाइट्स जो मैंने लर्न करी बाय रीडिंग दिस बुक. आई read this book, made a lot of notes and I'm going to share all of that today in this video. So stick with me till the very end. तो क्या आपने कभी ये नोटिस किया है कि हमें मीडियोकर रिजल्ट्स क्यों मिलते हैं डिस्पाइट वर्किंग सो हार्ड? मैंने अपने करियर में देखा है कि ज्यादातर लोग इंक्लूडिंग माई सेल्फ आर ऑपरेटिंग एट लेवल्स फार बिलो देयर पोटेंशियल. वी सेट एवरेज गोल्स, वी टेक एवरेज एक्शंस एंड देन वी वंडर व्हाई वी गेट एवरेज रिजल्ट्स. ये स्ट्रगल यूनिवर्सल है, वेदर यू आर अ बिजनेस ओनर, वेदर यू आर अ वर्किंग प्रोफेशनल or you are just starting your career. But what if I told you that there is a single principle that could completely transform your approach to success? Imagine achieving 10 times more than what you're currently accomplishing. Sounds impossible, right? यही तो है the 10x rule का power, a mindset that has completely revolutionized my business, helped me increase my income and help thousands of professionals break through their limitations. मैंने इस किताब को लगभग 4 बार पढ़ा और मैं आई रेकमेंड यू रीड इट अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम्स. हर चैप्टर एक्सटेंसिवली हाईलाइट किया और पर्सनली अपने बिजनेस और लाइफ में इंप्लीमेंट किया. वेल रिजल्ट्स, मेरे गोल्स ड्रामेटिकली एक्सपैंड हुए हैं, मेरी डेली आउटपुट ऑलमोस्ट 10x इंक्रीज हुई है और मेरे बिजनेस ने रिमार्केबल ग्रोथ अचीव की है. बिफोर डिस्कवरिंग दिस प्रिंसिपल आई वाज वर्किंग वेरी हार्ड बट सीइंग इंक्रीमेंटल रिजल्ट्स. आफ्टर अप्लाइंग द 10x माइंडसेट द सेम अमाउंट ऑफ टाइम स्टार्टेड yielding exponentially better outcomes. इसलिए आज मैं आपके साथ इस वीडियो में इस गेम चेंजिंग किताब के 7 मोस्ट पावरफुल प्रिंसिपल शेयर करूंगा जो आपके सक्सेस माइंडसेट को फंडामेंटली ट्रांसफॉर्म कर सकते हैं. ऑथर ग्रैंट कार्डोन का अप्रोच कंट्रोवर्शियल है, अनअपोलोजेटिक है और ब्रूटली ऑनेस्ट है, बट दैट्स एग्जैक्टली व्हाई इट वर्क्स. Traditional success advice doesn't create extraordinary results. The 10x rule does. So let's start with this first principle. Principle number 1. Success is your duty, not an option. The 10x rule का foundational concept ये है कि success isn't something you hope for. It's something you are obligated to achieve. Author Grant Cardone emphasizes that treating success as a nice to have is the biggest mistake most people make. ये approach psychological transformation लाता है क्योंकि it shifts your entire mindset from I hope I can succeed to I must succeed no matter what. Success isn't just for the lucky few. It's available to anyone who is willing to commit fully to extraordinary action. Professional context में मैंने observe किया कि जब मैं और मेरी टीम मेंबर्स सक्सेस को अपने फंडामेंटल ड्यूटी समझते हैं तो एक्सक्यूजेस डिसअपीयर हो जाते हैं और डिटर्मिनेशन ड्रामेटिकली इंक्रीज होती है. आई विल गिव यू अ रियल लाइफ एग्जांपल. जब मैंने अपना बिजनेस स्टार्ट किया तो आई ट्रीटेड ग्रोथ एज समथिंग दैट इट वुड बी नाइस टू हैपन. रिजल्ट स्लो, इनकंसिस्टेंट प्रोग्रेस. बट जैसे ही मैंने ये शिफ्ट किया माइंडसेट टू व्यूइंग सक्सेस एज माय एथिकल ऑब्लिगेशन टू माय फैमिली, माय टीम एंड माय क्लाइंट्स, everything changed. Decisions became clearer, action became bolder, and results followed quickly. Grant Cardone says it best in this book. He says, success is not something that happens to you, it's something that happens because of you. Because of you and the actions you take. When you view success as your duty, you stop waiting for permission or perfect conditions. You simply do whatever is necessary. Principle 2, the 10x mindset. Set targets 10x bigger than you think necessary. Grant Cardone का revolutionary concept है कि most of the people underestimate what they can achieve. ट्रेडिशनल गोल सेटिंग में हम रियलिस्टिक टारगेट सेट करते हैं लेकिन रियलिस्टिक थिंकिंग मीडियोक्रिटी की रेसिपी है. इंस्टेड 10x थिंकिंग डिमांड्स दैट यू सेट टारगेट्स दैट आर 10 टाइम्स बिगर देन व्हाट यू इनिशियली बिलीव इज पॉसिबल. ये अप्रोच इनिशियली ओवरवेलमिंग लग सकती है बट इट ट्रिगर्स अ कंप्लीट मेंटल शिफ्ट अबाउट व्हाट्स अचीवेबल. मैंने पर्सनली एक्सपीरियंस किया है कि जब मैंने अपने रेवेन्यू टारगेट्स को 10x किया तो मेरे एक्शंस और मेरी स्ट्रैटेजी completely transform हो गए. Average goals is equal to average thinking. underline that. Extraordinary goals is equal to extraordinary innovation and effort. For example, if your goal is to make 10 lakhs this year, a 10x mindset would set the target at 1 crore. Now, this isn't something about being unrealistic. It's about forcing yourself to think completely differently about your approach. With a 10 lakh goal, you might work a little harder, but with a 1 crore goal, you'll have to reinvent the entire business, your mindset, the model, the value proposition, and everything. What's more interesting is what happens when you fall short of your 10x goals. As Grant Cardone says in this book, if you shoot for 10x and you miss, you'll still outperform everyone who aimed for average. Even achieving 10x of your original goal is extraordinary compared to incremental improvement. Isn't that amazing? Principle 3 of this book that I learned is 10x actions are required for 10x results. Book का most challenging principle ये है कि massive goals require massive actions. Most people underestimate the power of effort required to accomplish anything significant by at least a factor of 10. Professional environment में mediocrity का root cause often ये assumption है कि normal amount of effort will yield exceptional results. Grant Cardone proves in this book that this is mathematically impossible. मैंने अपने business में इस principle को apply किया by increasing my daily output dramatically. Example, normal professionals make 10 to 20 calls a day. Using the 10x principle, I started making 100 to 150. Result, my opportunities, my connections, and ultimately success increased exponentially, not incrementally. This principle completely changed my work ethic. Before reading the 10x book, I would often wonder why my results weren't matching my efforts. The hard truth was that my perception of hard work was calibrated to industry norms, not to what was actually required for extraordinary success. Grant Cardone isn't advocating for burnout. Let's be very cautious. He's advocating for an honest assessment of what true success requires. As he writes, there is no shortage of money on this planet, only a shortage of people thinking big enough and taking enough actions. The 10x rule helps you align your actions with your true ambitions. Principle 4 of this book, competition becomes irrelevant at 10x levels. बुक की एक पावरफुल इंसाइट ये है, when you operate at 10x levels, you are no longer competing in the same league as others. You've essentially created your own category. प्रोफेशनल कॉन्टेक्स्ट में ये कॉन्सेप्ट बिजनेस स्ट्रैटेजी के लिए particularly transformative है. Instead of studying competitors and trying to be slightly better than them, 10x thinking forces you to reimagine your entire approach from first principles. मैंने ऑब्जर्व किया है कि जब कंपनीज 10x thinking अडॉप्ट करती है, they stop worrying about competitors and start focusing on creating entirely new value propositions, new markets and new opportunities. जब आप एक मार्केट में 10x इंप्रूवमेंट की बात करते हैं, इंक्रीमेंटल चेंजेस मैटर ही नहीं करते. रियल वर्ल्ड एग्जांपल देता हूं. When most businesses in my industry were only trying to sell to the authors, we decided to educate our authors in the form of workshops and webinars and courses so that they can be empowered. Now this is creating 10x value for the clients. Instead of meeting clients quarterly, we established weekly check-ins. The result? Clients stopped comparing us to alternatives because no direct comparison existed. 10x thinking creates what Grant Cardone calls domination of your market, not through predatory practices but through such overwhelming value creation that competitors become irrelevant. Don't compete, dominate, he advises. Now this mindset shifts your entire strategy from reactive to proactive. The next idea that I liked is that fear and risk should be embraced, not avoided. Grant Cardone का काउंटर इंट्यूटिव लेसन ये है कि fear और risk सक्सेस जर्नी का नेचुरल पार्ट है. इन्हें अवॉइड नहीं, एम्ब्रेस करना चाहिए. Mediocrity comes from playing it safe. प्रोफेशनल सेटिंग्स में फियर बहुत पावरफुल इंडिकेटर है कि आप क्या एक्शन लेना चाहते हैं. When you feel fear, it's often pointing directly to the actions you must take to grow. मैंने पर्सनली स्ट्रगल किया है कंफर्ट जोन से बाहर स्टेप्स लेने में, लेकिन जब मैंने फियर को ग्रोथ अपॉर्चुनिटी की तरह ट्रीट करना स्टार्ट किया, इंस्टेड ऑफ एन ऑब्स्टिकल, मेरी कैपेबिलिटीज ड्रामेटिकली एक्सपैंड हुई. ग्रैंट कार्डोन्स मंत्रा इज fear is actually a sign that that you should do something, not that you should not do it. For example, public speaking मुझे बहुत intimidate करती थी. Traditional advice would suggest starting small, perhaps speaking to small groups and gradually building up. But the 10x approach, well, it says something else. I committed to speaking at a major industry conference with 500 attendees. The fear was intense, but the growth was exponential. Grant Cardone explains that successful people aren't fearless. They have simply developed the habit of acting despite fear. Successful people take big risks, knowing that the path to their dreams requires discomfort, uncertainty, and yes, repeated failure. The next idea that I liked about the book is average is a failing formula. इस किताब का one of the most provocative principle ये है कि average is actually dangerous. Grant Cardone explains that aiming for average puts you in the most overcrowded competitive space possible. Traditional thinking suggest करेगी कि reasonable goals safe हैं. 10x thinking reveals that they are actually riskiest approach because they don't generate enough motivation, energy or innovation to overcome inevitable obstacles. मैंने नोटिस किया है कि जो businesses industry standard performance target नहीं करती हैं, वो हमेशा under perform करती हैं. But those who aim for extraordinary targets develop extraordinary capabilities. As Grant Cardone puts it, average is a failing plan. Average doesn't work in any area of life. Now consider this reality. In times of economic uncertainty, which employees are most vulnerable? Those delivering average performance. Which businesses struggle most during downturns? Those offering average values. Average isn't just uninspiring, it's dangerous in a competitive world. One of Grant Cardone's most powerful statements in this book is, if you want to be successful, you need to completely divorce yourself from any connection to average. Now, this means evaluating every aspect of your professional life, from your work ethic to your skill development to your client service, against extraordinary standards, not industry norms. The next idea that I loved in this book is massive action is the natural state of extraordinary achievers. The final principle of the 10x rule ये है कि successful people do not just take actions, they take massive, consistent and persistent action until they achieve their goals. Grant Cardone introduces the concept of 4 degrees of action. Do nothing, retreat from action. Take normal levels of action, take massive action. Only the 4th option, massive action, guarantees success over time. Professional context में, this principle has transformed how I approach projects and goals. Instead of doing just enough, I focus on doing whatever it takes until success is inevitable. मैंने अपनी टीम को भी सिखाया है कि massive action is not about burnouts, it's about relentless forward momentum. It means viewing obstacles as temporary and continuing to push forward regardless of initial results. Massive action also creates what Grant Cardone calls omnipresence. Your efforts become so substantial that you seem to be everywhere in your market. My networking by 10x, my client outreach by 10x, the results, my brand visibility grew exponentially in my industry, creating opportunities I couldn't have imagined with normal levels of action. The misconception many have about massive action is that it's unsustainable. But Grant Cardone argues that once you break through initial resistance, massive action actually becomes energizing rather than depleting. Success provides energy, creates momentum, and fuels more success. He writes in this book. दोस्तों, the 10x rule का core message ये है कि extraordinary success requires extraordinary commitment, thinking, and action. There is no shortcut, but there is a reliable formula. Set targets 10x higher than you think necessary and take actions 10x greater than you believe you think is required. इस book ने मेरी entire approach to business and life transform कर दी है. It showed me that my greatest limitation wasn't external circumstances, competition, or lack of opportunities. It was my own thinking and self-exposed limitations on what was possible. The most powerful realization for me was Grant Cardone's statement in this book. Success is your duty obligation, and responsibility. When you truly accept this principle, excuses disappear and what seemed impossible becomes inevitable with enough persistent action. अगर आप भी 10x रूल को अपनी लाइफ में इंप्लीमेंट करना चाहते हैं तो स्टार्ट विद वन गोल दिस वीक. मेक इट 10x बिगर देन व्हाट यू इनिशियली थॉट पॉसिबल. देन टेक मैसिव एक्शन every single day. Even if you fall short of your 10x targets, you will achieve far more than what you would have with conventional goals. Remember Grant Cardone's ultimate advice: never reduce your targets. Instead, increase your actions. Now, this mindset guarantees that over time, extraordinary results become inevitable. Well, thank you very much for watching this video. अगर आपको ये insights valuable लगी हो तो please like करिए, share करिए, subscribe करिए. And do not forget, of course, to comment in below this video that you whether you like this video or not. और आपको सबसे पावरफुल आइडिया कौन सा लगा ये भी मुझे जरूर बताइएगा. अब हम मिलेंगे अगली बुक समरी में दोस्तों. जिस बुक समरी वीडियो में आई एम गोना शेयर अनदर बुक, अनदर डीप इनसाइट्स फ्रॉम व्हाट आई हैव लर्न फ्रॉम द बुक. इन किताबों को जब मैं पढ़ रहा हूं तो आई एम रियलाइजिंग दैट दीज आर लाइफ ट्रांसफॉर्मिंग बुक्स. दीज हैव चेंज्ड माय लाइफ एंड दीज बुक्स हैव द पावर टू चेंज योर लाइफ एज वेल. सो A lot of people don't have the time to read the entire book. तो अगर आपके साथ ऐसा है, of course you must buy and read this book. The link to the book is in the description. लेकिन अगर समय नहीं है तो इस summary, इस वीडियो को दोबारा जरूर देखना and share it with your friends. Of course, it will really help them. The 10x Rule is a game-changing book, and I highly recommend it. Thank you very much for watching.